In the month of January, I was able to read 4 books. The first, I finally read the ACOTAR trilogy by Sarah J. Maas. I did post a reading vlog going into my first 2 books of the month, so if you want a more in-depth review of these 2, you can definitely go check that out. But yeah, so I started with A Court of Thorns and Roses. I rated it a 4.75 out of 5 stars. So fun. My only sort of complaint was that for some reason, I don't know why Sarah J. Maas must put the word snarl or growl or tongue clicking a lot. Otherwise, it was very good. Again, if you want a more in-depth review of that, you can go ahead to my reading vlog. And then I went into If It Makes You Happy by Julie Olivia. I read this right after instead of going into the other 2 ACOTAR because I wanted a break knowing how long these 2 next books were, and I just wanted a cozy romance. So this is what I ended up reading, If It Makes You Happy. It was released September of 2025. It is such a cozy romance. It is in the 90s, I believe, and it is just so fun. You're following a girl who moves to a small town to take over her family's bed and breakfast, and she meets this guy who owns a bakery right next door. They fall in love, and it's great, and it's super cute. Highly recommend. Then I went into A Court of Mist and Fury. I went back and forth on my rating so many times. So my original rating was 4.85 stars. Then it went to 5. Then it went back to 4.85. Then it went back to 5. But then I started reading this book and was like, oh my gosh, this book is going to be a 5 stars. But I didn't know if they were the same because they're both 5 stars. So I went back to 4.85. But then after reading the both of them, I ended up rating them both at 5 stars because they're 5 stars for different reasons. This was a 5 star for a lot of reasons, but it was more so because of the conflicts with the world and the war that's about to go on and just like the overall character developments and everything in between. This was more of a 5 star because of more so the romance and the main character development and kind of her like girl boss energy starting to really grow and blossom. So I did end up keeping both of them at 5 stars. Honestly, if I had to pick a favorite, it would probably be A Court of Mist and Fury, which is definitely a lot of other people's favorites as well. But yeah, just a really good trilogy. I will say that there are a lot of characters to keep track of, especially when you go more into this one. So I would almost say when you read this trilogy to almost like, I would almost say take note of each character you meet because there are so many different kings and realms and all these things you kind of do want to remember to get more immersed in it. So I'd almost say if I were to reread these, I'm definitely going to annotate. I didn't annotate this time because these aren't my books. I'm borrowing them. The red one is my book. This is my book. Overall, I would give this trilogy 5 stars. I do not think that I am going to go into the next book and the 5th right after. I'm going to take a break. I think the next one is a little novella, so it's very indulgible. You don't have to read it, but people really enjoy it. And then the 5th book is about one of the sisters, and it's very long, and I don't think I am ready to continue and go into another huge book at the moment. I will probably read them at some point, but not right now. So again, I had a very great reading month, all of which were above 4.7 stars. So definitely a really great reading month. And I also updated my reading journal. So I don't know what it looked like the last time I showed you, but I did make a 2026 reading log page. It's very simple. It's nothing crazy. So I just have 2026, and then I have my reading goal, which is 40 books. And then this one is super fun. You just color in the books you read, and I just did the same color as the cover. And then I did this, which is kind of the same thing, but I color in the actual books. And then I'm doing my genre tracker, so I've read 3 romance fantasies and 1 romance so far. That's the update on my reading journal. I cannot wait to continue to do that. It is so exciting when I can fill a little box in, so I highly recommend doing that. As for the month of February, today is February 2nd, and I have unfortunately already DNF'd a book. And that book is unfortunately The Tourist Attraction by Sarah Morgenthaler. I'm really sad because I've had this book for so long. I think I've had it for almost a year now on my shelf. I picked it up not knowing much about it, which is like my favorite thing when nobody on Goodreads or anybody has read it before. And unfortunately this time it was not my cup of tea. But yeah, it was kind of leaning towards a grumpy sunshine, but then just like really, really random things that weren't needed in their story were happening. There's literally a scene where she somehow gets lost off of the hiking trail in Alaska, and she ends up at this like cabin, which is the guy's cabin, and he's like at home using a chainsaw to like chop wood or whatever. And so she gets there, sees him, starts screaming because he has a chainsaw and like a mask on to protect himself, starts running, goes to his four-wheeler, tries to start it, continuously screaming, by the way. Just like a lot of random stuff like that is just, it wasn't needed. I got to page 190 out of 390, so I did give it a good chance. I just ended up skimming it, and I just decided to, unfortunately, DNF. So that is very sad, starting off the month of February with a DNF. But even though I did start off with a DNF, I have very high hopes for the month of February. My next read that I got from the library, finally for my library TBR jar challenge, is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig, and I am very, very hopeful that I will like this book. And I also have the second one on hold at the library, so when I finish this, I can go right into the next one. It is a duology. This will be my second attempt reading a dark fantasy. The first one I did read was The Shadow in the Glass. Wasn't my favorite, but it also could be because I read it right after Powerless, which is my favorite book literally ever at the moment. But this was okay, but it wasn't something that like I hated. It just wasn't my favorite. So I'm hoping that One Dark Window will redeem my opinion on just general dark fantasy romance. But again, this book wasn't bad at all by any means. It just wasn't my favorite. So I am hoping that One Dark Window will redeem that genre. After that duology, I am going to get into one of the books I found in the Little Free Library and my Little Free Library haul video. It's called One Last Stop by Kate C. McQuiston, and it just gave me Valentine's Day vibes, so I'm definitely going to attempt to read this around Valentine's Day. So that's very exciting. I'm going to read that. And then I'm going to go into another book I got from the Little Free Library, which is The Sanatorium. It is a thriller in the mountains, kind of like giving The Shining vibes. So that'll be after that, and definitely a switch up. And then lastly, if I get to it, I will read The Secret Book Society. So very, very excited. This one plus the sequel at the library, which I don't have, will be my February TBR. February will definitely be a very fun reading journey because there's so many different genres, and this was a romance. I will still add it to my reading journal because I did read a good chunk of it. But yeah, so that is the plan, and I hope you guys have a fantastic reading month in February. Comment down below what you are currently planning on reading. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.